Nick Darr with Big Z Media here. We've talked to hundreds of business owners over the course of many years, and we've been just really a student of small business over many years. And one thing that we love to help businesses advertise and market their business at Big Z Media. We have a variety of different platforms to help you do that, whether that's radio or print or a full service of digital options. You know, if you're a small business owner, you should be spending about 5 to 10% of your gross revenue on advertising to let people know who you are, what you do, and why they should do business with you. When you do business with us, you get great service, you get multi-platform advertising campaigns with terrific creative, and we'd love to help you put together a campaign that really helps you get tangible results and helps you grow your business and succeed in business, which is not easy to do. As we've seen on the show, there's a lot of challenges, but one of the biggest reasons why small businesses don't make it is because they don't understand how to market and advertise their business, how to acquire clients. We can help you do that. Give us a call, Nick Darr, Big Z Media. You can check out bigz.media, and we can help you get started on a strategic advertising campaign that delivers results for you. Welcome to Business Over Brew. I'm your host, Nick Darr. Pleased to be joining you for another episode where we talk business with some of the Riverbend's most interesting and influential business owners. We do that here at the Great Rivers Tap and Grill inside the Best Western Premier Hotel. Terrific little hidden gem of a restaurant in Alton. I highly recommend you try it out. Terrific menu, Chef Kenny, great service staff. They will take care of you. We'll have an excellent dining experience. Pleased to be joined in this episode by Vickie Hopkins with Party on Broadway. Vickie, how are you? Thanks for coming on.
I'm good. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, tell us a little bit about how you got started in business and just a little thumbnail sketch of Party on Broadway.
So I got started in business after a job layoff back in 2014 is when I got laid off. And one thing led me to another, and I ended up opening a Party on Broadway with canvas parties. And they've just evolved over the years into different craft parties.
What went into just the decision making behind? Obviously, you had a layoff, but maybe we're considering some other options too. What made you really decide? I think opening a business is what I want to do at this point.
I was just at a really weird point in my life. I had gotten laid off. My mom was on hospice. My mom passed away. I really started painting, getting ready for her memorial, and I was in the gift box with Andrea at the time, and Andrea said, I think you should think about doing paint parties. And we had a few conversations, and that was how Party on Broadway was born. It was kind of a split decision, but I wasn't really finding what I was looking for coming out of working in pharmaceuticals. Mm-hmm. And so I detoured and did Party on Broadway for about 7 years. And
had art always been a passion of yours from a young age, or?
I've always liked to doodle. I'm more of a fun painter than a serious painter.
Right. So tell us about that first day of opening the business, and just what were some of your concerns at the time?
Well, I had never owned that kind of business before, and so I actually had my first party with Party on Broadway out at Godfrey Meat Market. We had probably 30 people there for a canvas party that night, and that was a good experience to go out and be mobile right off the bat. And then my first party in the shop was more of a Pinterest party. We did word blocks and had a few hiccups with that. And I remember the shop was just so empty that first party. And I'm like, oh, wow. And so I still think back to that now that I've been in business for a few years, and I don't have that problem of emptiness anymore.
Well, that's good. There's always that concern, though, that, when you definitely kind of a different business model, too, and kind of an unproven concept here locally, I guess. So probably encouraging, I would say, when you had 30 people at your first one, but maybe.
Well, I think the first one was such a success because Lori being a Pampered Chef dealer, having a great customer base, people wanted to support her and
right.
something in her business as well. And but the parties in the shop, it's still a struggle. How do you let people know that you're there?
Right.
because I think locally it's a little different, even still, than in St. Louis. People say, well, I've heard a party on Broadway, but I just didn't know where it was at.
Right. And you have to do kind of the same preparation regardless of, because you don't, uh, how often, in advance do you know how many people you're going to have at an event?
So I've learned over the years, depending on what kind of event, if it's stuff I have to specifically order for that event, if it's a Pinterest type party,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to pull that in um, the time to get supplies in.
Right.
Versus if it's
So it's not kind of a just show up and do it. You need to know who's coming before they come, right?
For some parties, we have a whole DIY room there now that people can come in and pick out a project and paint it right there.
Right. How has the business evolved? You said 7 years, I think. How has it evolved from day one to today? Take us through that a little bit.
Well, so I'm actually going to be 10 years in February.
Okay.
7 years I did it just full time. And, it's changed. It seems like it changes every few years of how people are thinking, who your customers are, what people are looking for. Uh, how many people are in the area that are doing it. I think actually more people doing it actually makes more people want to do it because they're like, oh, well, this is cool to do. And so since there's been a few other businesses come around, I feel like everybody benefits from that.
Sure. And then word of mouth starts to spread a little bit, and you start to get more repeat and referral business, I would imagine, and that's a big help, I would guess.
Yeah. Building good relationships is always good. In different areas of networking can be more beneficial than others in that.
Right. Talk about the networking aspect of things because you've been pretty active in that area, I know, and talk about the importance of that to any small business owner.
So I feel like it's just really important for me to network because I like to know who I'm doing business with. If I'm going to refer somebody to somebody for something they're looking for, or maybe it's for a job or a service, I want to know that I'm not just throwing a name out there. I want to know that people can go to them and accomplish whatever it is that they want. And I feel like if you make good referrals, that is a good credibility for you also.
Right. I think it's a little bit cliched, and we've been in a networking group that uses the motto of givers gain, but it really is, I've seen it to be true. The more, if you can connect other people, then they get motivated to help you out in your business too. And how has that manifested itself for you over the years?
I feel like whether it was from a networking group or just relationships that I've built, I have definitely had people surprise me with business that I wasn't looking for.
Right.
Just either because they had heard good things about me or they knew me personally and wanted to do business with me or refer people to me. When I network, I don't really network to uh, come to you so that, hey, you're going to want to just come to a party with Vickie Hopkins, because it's not all just about what Party on Broadway does. It's the whole thing of just knowing other business owners and who you want to refer business to, or if they're looking for something, who do you know?
Right.
And it's just good karma. I think what you put out comes back to you.
And you've definitely done that just being in a networking group with you. You always knew everybody, it seemed like. It had always were referring business to other people. You're always one of the leading referral givers. And I think that's been a key aspect of your business and to your success. Talk about what just the most rewarding aspect of running the business, or maybe just a particularly satisfying moment or day from your 10 years that kind of stands out to you.
I've had a lot of different moments that have been touching. I had people come in after a funeral once, and that was a very touching to me because I felt like that's a very sensitive time, and for people to feel that they could come in and I could provide the right environment for that audience made me feel really good. I've had people meet each other. I had a big family that just recently got together and met through a party in the shop, and that was really exciting to be a part of, but also to go out and do things in the community.
Mm-hmm.
Love to volunteer out in the community when my schedule allows. I don't have as much time now that I work for Brian as well.
Right. Brian Campbell with Coleman's Country Campers.
Yes.
Past guest of the show.
To go volunteer as much, but I'm still always looking for opportunities.
Right. That's the only free plug I'm going to give Brian during the show too,
Yeah.
by the way. So we talked about some of the rewarding aspects. What when you have those days that maybe aren't as rewarding or feel a little bit more challenging, what motivates you to get through those moments?
If you never had the bad days, you wouldn't appreciate the good days. So, over the years, sometimes there's been a few hiccups with different things, and just try to learn from them and go on and not get caught up in the drama. I try to stay out of drama. If we have somebody who's unhappy, we try to make them happy.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody who's ever been in business knows that you can't make everybody happy every day.
That's true. I found that to be true, at least for us. So
sometimes you just have to agree in your own head that you're just going to part ways and move forward and do good where you can do good.
Absolutely, it's that's anytime you're dealing with customers, that's always a big challenge. Talk about maybe what's been the biggest challenge that you've faced over the course of the last 10 years?
Well, COVID was a big challenge.
Sure, especially for a business that relies on face-to-face interaction like yours.
Yes, being mostly a party place, we do sell items, but parties that's our main thing is doing parties or the DIYs, and just making sure that we're reaching people. We have to have people in and painting and participating with us somehow to be in business. And I would love for the community to really understand that all small businesses need you to support them.
Right.
You can have 100 new small businesses, but if you don't support them, they can't thrive without you.
I think one of the challenges, maybe the biggest challenge of COVID, was just the uncertainty of what we were all dealing with. Like, no one knew. We've been through recessions. We've been through difficult economic times, but we hadn't been through something that, at least I hadn't been, and I think most people hadn't been through something that there was just no predicting how we were going to come out on the other side of it with some of the shutdowns. And, if you think back to those days, originally it was, 15 days to slow the spread.
Mm-hmm.
And then after those 15 days, we're thinking, okay, maybe we'll get back to work. And then it's, no, we're still going to be locked down. So just that uncertainty. What were some things that came out of COVID for you, though, that maybe were on the positive side of things?
I think it was, for me, one of the positive things is that when you wake up every day, you just have to believe that I'm going to just do the best that I can do today, and repeat. And really, I think my business is open because the first month of COVID, all we literally sold was friends' welcome boards. The only thing. I mean,
right, yeah.
We had a whole room. And so I just kept watching people who would pick up the welcome boards and be like, all these people are just so chilled and relaxed. Like, it was just really fun to watch people pick up these welcome boards. And so just keep believing in yourself.
Yeah.
Some days you just have to just keep moving forward.
This is a question that a better interviewer would have asked you more towards the beginning of the interview. But where did the idea come from? Where did you get the idea for Party on Broadway?
I was painting a lot of canvases. I was doing Pinterest parties with the city of Wood River. And it just conversation. It was very new. There was not a lot of people doing it, and just putting it together. Like there wasn't an initial plan. Like it was developed as I went along. There wasn't because there wasn't a book to look it up. So
Right.
I I feel like any lesson that I've learned that has been a challenge was a good lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you go through those lessons, you're able to process better the next time it comes up, or think differently. I think each hurdle makes you learn from it.
Time for a couple more questions. Who have been some of the biggest influences in your career that you really look back and say, boy, without them, I don't know if I'd be where I am today?
Gosh. Well, Andrea Abbott. I always talk about Andrea. It seems like, but
she's been on the show as well.
Andrea is she's full of ideas, and she has a lot of conversations with a lot of people. And with me, I guess it just resonated. I I've met a lot of people. The visitor center has been great with me. When Brett was here, I was still just doing Party on Broadway, and I was able to go and help do events for them and volunteer. So I felt kind of showed me some ways of being involved. Being involved with Alton Main Street. I felt like wasn't necessarily for customers, but I learned about a lot more about Alton from that, and then just different networking groups. Sometimes you have big supporters who take you along and are with you a long time, and sometimes it can just be somebody just doing a little something for you that makes a huge difference.
Right.
So
sure,
lots of people.
Sure. Yeah. It takes a lot of people you need a big support system to run a business, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
Where do you see the business going in the next 5 to 10 years in terms of maybe changes or innovation or things you'd like to add to the mix?
So we have got to where in the business where really anything arts and crafts that people want to do party wise, we try to help them with that. We've done some different things with like cookie and cake decorating. We've done some jewelry making classes. My mind just totally went blank.
That's all right.
But staying current and what people want kind of drives what we will offer. If it's a trend and it's what people are looking for, and we know how to do it or know somebody who can do it, those are the kind of classes that we want to offer people.
Sure.
Even if sometimes it could even be like an outside vendor coming in and doing that.
Right. If somebody wanted to get a hold of you and learn more about the business and maybe how they can take advantage of your services, what's the best way to do that?
Well, they can find us at Party on Broadway on Facebook. We have lots of pictures, lots of information out there. They can text me if they have questions or call 314-795-9003. Or I have a website also they can go to, partyonbroadway.com.
Well, Vickie Hopkins, great local community business owner. Thanks so much for being on the show. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And congratulations on 10 years. Not a lot of businesses make it to that mark, so congratulations. Vickie Hopkins, Party on Broadway. Get out and support local people and help Vickie out. Check her out on Facebook, Party on Broadway.